Today, we will be talking about the insane mind of Marcelo Costa de Andrade, and his brutal way of thinking and killing. Stay tuned for a dive into his insane mind and discover his horrific and brutal actions. Marcelo Costa de Andrade, also known as the Vampire of Niterói, was born on October 24, 1967, in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. Andrade lived in Rocinha, a favela in Rio de Janeiro. His mother was abused by her husband. Andrade was sent to his grandparents' house in Ceará for a while. After that, he was sent back to Rio de Janeiro, where he was abused by his parents' new companions, whom by then had separated. It was during this time that he was sexually abused by an older man. At the age of 14, Andrade was kicked out of the boarding school, and he began to work as a prostitute. During that time, Andrade also tried to commit suicide, but failed. For some time, Andrade was located in the FUNAPEM. FUNAPEM was a Brazilian government agency responsible for the welfare and rehabilitation of minors who were in conflict with the law or were living in vulnerable conditions. After escaping from the FUNAPEM, he met with another homosexual man and started to live with him, but still continued to work as a prostitute. At the age of 16, he went to live with another man named Antonio Batista Freire, who began supporting Andrade and even introducing him to the Universal Church of the Kingdom of God. Even with his companion's support, Andrade continued to prostitute himself, until he finally separated from Freire and returned to his family's home. From there, he stopped working as a prostitute and began to work, helping the family with bills and the household chores. Andrade went to the Kingdom of God's services for 10 years at the time, in addition to watching the daily TV celebrations. According to Andrade, it was in one of those cults that he heard that when children die, they go to heaven. Therefore, he did not kill adults, because he could be sending them to hell. As a result, this sparked an interest in killing children. According to his mother, Andrade had a strange habit of listening to an audio recording of his younger brother crying. Andrade's first victim was an unknown boy, who was strangled with his t-shirt. His teeth and shorts were removed by Andrade. After that, he took the shorts as a trophy. Andrade continued to kill lots of other children, including Oder dos Santos. In June 1991, he had just gotten off a bus, when he saw 11-year-old Oder José Muniz dos Santos, begging for alms in the street. He managed to convince the boy that he would go with him to an aunt's house and get about 3,000 cruzeiros. While in fact, he took Oder to a soccer field, where he tried to abuse him. When he couldn't succeed, he strangled the boy. Soon after that, Andrade went home for dinner. Later, he came back and started to decapitate the boy's body. He stated that he did this to take revenge on what kids did with him while he was at the boarding school. After he killed him, he went to his house and convinced his mother to let him use the machete. He returned to the field and decapitated the body with it. Andrade's last known victims were Ivan and Alter de Medeiros. On December 16, 1991, 10-year-old Alter Medeiros de Bru left with his brother Ivan to the house of a neighbor. They were supposed to go for lunch. When the two boys passed through the central station of Niterói, they were approached by Andrade, who offered them about 4,000 cruzeiros if they helped him perform a Catholic religious ritual. The brothers followed Andrade to a beach. Arriving at the beach, Andrade tried to kiss Ivan while he was asleep, but Alter tried to stop it. Andrade got furious, and smashed Alter's head against a rock, and forced him to watch his brother being raped and strangled to death. In fright, Alter agreed to do whatever Andrade said. After everything was over, Andrade moved towards Alter, opening his arms wide. Alter could smell his dead brother all over Andrade's clothes, and was convinced he was going to kill him too. Instead, Andrade embraced him. "I have sent Ivan to heaven," the killer told him. "I love you." Andrade fell in love with Alter, because of his passive personality and green eyes. He took Alter to a gas station, where he cleaned his wound. Too terrified to try and make a run for it, Altair agreed to spend the night with Andrade. The next morning, Andrade even took Altair to work with him, in the tourist district of Copacabana. Luckily, Altair managed to escape and rushed home. In the meantime, Andrade had returned to Ivan's corpse, to tuck the tiny boy's hands into his pockets, so the rats wouldn't chew on his fingers. Most of the time, he would often revisit the scene of his crimes, and leave trays of food, and other offerings to his victims. Altair returned to his home, but did not tell anything to his mother, being too afraid that she would beat him. Altair initially did not reveal that his brother had been killed, only telling a part of what happened to the older sisters the next day. Andrade did not try to look for Altair, or tried to hide his brother's body. Instead, he would return to the crime scene to change the body's position, before it was discovered by police officers hours later. It is said that the boy's hands were inside his shorts, which removed the initial thesis of drowning, and sexual abuse was later verified by the authorities. When the body was identified by Ivan's mother, Altair led the cops to Andrade. Altair took the police to Andrade's workplace, where they found him sitting in a chair, eating a packed lunch. After being arrested, Andrade said that he waited for the police to come and arrest him, and also claiming that the sex with Altair was consensual. Altair subsequently became very ill and died. This happened because of the trauma he had gotten. Eventually, Andrade confessed to only the murder of Ivan. But when his mother was called in for questioning 2 months later, this changed. She told police about how he had once asked for the machete, and later came back with it covered in blood. At the police station, Andrade confessed to killing 13 other boys, revealing one of his first crimes. At the time of his arrest, Andrade was compared to another serial killer and cannibal, Jeffrey Dahmer. He was then diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder, schizophrenia, a low IQ, and psychopathic tendencies, along with other severe mental illnesses. We know now that Andrade did not just kill randomly. Before attacking, Andrade would stalk some of his victims for an unknown amount of time, because they reminded him of himself as a child. His victims were lower-class boys, aged 6 till 13. He stated that young boys were beautiful and had a soft skin. Once he had his eye on them, he would lure the boys to non-populated areas, such as beaches, hills, or sewer tunnels. Arriving at these places, he would plant his awful tactics, and rape and strangle them, mostly with their own clothing or belongings. He would smash their heads with rocks, to drink the blood coming out of it, thinking he would become beautiful like them. Once he had killed them, he would take their clothing as trophies, and sometimes engage in acts of cannibalism, and necrophilia with the bodies. He would also return to the crime scenes, and bring food with him in order to feed his victims' spirits. According to him, he once cut off the head of one of his victims' bodies, so he could be bullied in heaven by other children. From April till December 16, 1991, Andrade killed 15 victims within a 7 to 8 month span. The known victims are Anderson Gomez Galar, Adair Jose Muniz dos Santos, Ivan and Altair Medeiros de Bru. Eventually, Andrade was arrested on December 18, 1991. Andrade was declared not guilty, by reason of insanity, on April 26, 1993. He is currently being held at the Henrique Rocho Psychiatric Hospital. Andrade managed to escape from the asylum in January 1997, when a guard accidentally left a door open. He was out on the streets for 12 days, until the police finally caught him in Garicía do Norte, in the northeastern state of Ceará. He had hitchhiked more than 3,000 kilometers, to visit his father. When he got picked up, he would say that he was on his way to the Holy Land. He told police that by killing the children, he was now purified. Andrade now claims to be an evangelist, and expresses his hope that one day, he will be back on the streets. All he needs, he says, is the love of a good woman to keep him on the straight and narrow. However, I think we can all say that that's not what would keep him from killing again. Maybe there is nothing that would keep him from murdering, if he would wander the streets again. Thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like, and subscribe to this channel if you like this video, and would like to see more. Stay safe. See you next time.